Okay. So was the Houston Rocket and Lakers game rigged? The short answer is no. I didn't want to have to do a video this quickly, but there was a lot of questions about the Lakers and Houston Rockets game. This was after I did the that game took place after I did the one on the Warriors and the Cavs, just to show that first quarter of how it was rigged. But I didn't want to do this video, but I mean, this is really like an important game, and a lot of people, I got covered a lot in the media, ESPN, Stephen A. Smith, everybody was talking about the officials and what happened in the game. So I just kind of wanted to review it. I ended up just going to take a look into it to see what some of the key plays. But what I found was, I mean, there was a lot. I think I got 10 minutes actually worth of clips, just clips of plays that were questionable foul calls. Either some of the key ones that they keep playing over and over again on TV and stuff like that, and also some of the ones that probably no one even mentioned or saw or cared about. And what I noticed is those ones, the ones that no one really cared about or saw or anything else, were the ones that took up most of the time and most of the clips and most of the game. But I guess a point to make before we even get started, like the Cleveland versus the Golden State Warriors game, the one that I did prior, one of the reasons why I was looking at that was because there was a consistent amount of one-way calls that were where the officials swung points towards Golden State's way, like certain calls that would have prevented Golden State from scoring and kind of like gifted them points that to keep them in the game and get them back in the game when after Cleveland went on a 12-0 run in that specific case. Here in this game, what goes on is tons of star treatment, tons of just normal, the NBA doesn't call that stuff, type calls. And basically, it's not what a lot of people think. No, Houston, the refs did some things to help Houston, yes. But for the vast majority of the game, like at the end of the day, the total outcome of it, no, the refs didn't help Houston at all. Actually, you could argue the opposite. The refs helped the Lakers significantly, more specifically LeBron James, and you'll see what I'm talking about as I go through these clips. But I mean, I didn't really calculate, play for play, point for point, what would have happened if you accumulated all of them, because there was calls going both ways. But definitely LeBron would have looked extremely bad if the refs decided to call stuff in this game like tightly. And a lot of the calls versus the Lakers on defense versus Harden, because I mean the Lakers shot only 5 less, I think, free throws. They just didn't make any of them. But overall, I think a lot of the calls on Harden, like most of the ones that were in question, were actually fouls. There was other stuff that was going on that kind of skewed it either way. But yeah, if anything, the refs kind of helped the Lakers. But here we go. We're going to go look at this. The first play, I don't know if this is the first play of the game. It could be maybe the second possession. I don't know. But LeBron James has the ball here. They obviously switched on Capella. This was what they were going for offensively all night, was to get LeBron James on Capella, because, I mean, obviously Capella can't guard LeBron. That's obvious. That's what they wanted. So they get it here. But as you're going to see, we've got an obvious travel from LeBron. I mean, first of all, he picks up the ball. He pivots. So I'm just going to ignore this first half. They could have called a travel once he pivoted, jumped into a stop, which, like a pro hop, landed on both feet. At this point, according to rules, you could technically say that he can't pivot at that point, because he already took the step, and this would have been his second contact point, like the 1-2. This would have been his 2, and he would have had to go up for the shot. But I'm just going to ignore that and just assume that just assume at this point that he did a proper jump stop, and that he could pivot with either foot at this point. And this is his first contact. He gets the ball here, and you're going to see his left foot towards the baseline, is inside the paint, and he's using this outside foot, and he's going to step one way, and you're going to see this as right foot go from all the way inside the paint to all the way back outside the paint again, and he shoots. His left foot was his pivot, and you can see it from this angle even better. You can see clear inside, But once he steps over, watch it go completely from there all the way to outside the paint. That was an obvious travel. That was their first points of the game. That would have been -2 for him. It would have been 0-0 at this point, but that was an obvious travel from LeBron. Then you want to see Harden here. Harden gets the ball. 1, 2, 3. So Harden travels like the right next play when going to the basket. On these plays, usually though, they never call it. But I mean, that technically could have been a turnover on Houston right there. But yeah, here's Harden. Right there, technically, he got the ball clutched in both hands. So that's his pivot foot. He lifts it there, but then he puts it back down on the ground again. That could have easily been called a travel. And here, you got an obvious push off on Kuzma. He gets into Harden and just throws him off to receive the pass, and it makes a layup. Well, he doesn't make a layup, but he gets fouled. Here again, on this play, you got Gordon. I mean, there's contact from Kuzma right there. I mean, that technically could have been a foul, but we'll just ignore that one. We'll pretend that one didn't even happen. And then James with the ball again. Okay. I mean, this game should be a total embarrassment if your name's Josh Hart, Kyle Kuzma, or LeBron James, just on what they did on defense. I mean, LeBron obviously not doing anything. He knew PJ Tucker was going to stand in the corner the entire game. So instead of guarding LeBron or someone who's actually, instead of guarding LeBron, guarding James Harden or someone who's actually going to do something, he just stayed on PJ Tucker the entire game. When one of the younger guys could have stuck to him and kind of hid, but he hid the entire game. And Kuzma obviously gets beat off the dribble. Once you get beat off the dribble, you're done. Okay. I don't know what people, are taught to do in this situation, playing basketball. But once the offensive player gets head and shoulders past you, you got to avoid contact. You could maintain some level of non-foul contact, but when you close the gap right here and try to get back in front from the side and create that much freaking side contact, James Harden doesn't go into him. Kuzma comes all the way down and bumps into him. That's an obvious foul. I mean, you can't be upset about those type of calls. Okay, here we got Capella switched on Kuzma this time. Kuzma, you're going to see he got us the ball there. 1, 2, 3. That's another travel. Those are the type of things that they just don't call in the NBA. So that's what you could chalk those up to. Ones that they just, I never see those calls made, but that's obvious 3 steps. And then you got Hart here. This is one of the ones that was on the close out onto the shot. Right here it's over. If I go back just a little bit, you can see that right here, okay, Harden dribbles. Right there, you can tell he's about to shoot, okay? He's going to go back. At this point, this is the point where Harden can't dribble anymore. At this point, Hart should be stepping forward and getting that contest low, getting it, trying to swipe at the ball, trying to get the ball out as he's going up for the shot to try to bother it or closing the space right here and getting close. Instead, what he does is he backs up as he's going up for the shot. There's no way he can contest the shot. At this point, he just got to let the shot go. But instead, he leans forward. He leans all the way into him. He goes up. The ball is already completely out of his hands at this point before he even gets anywhere close to a contest. And then he just leans and jumps all the way into him. That's obviously going to be a foul. He gets upset here to say and one. But that's ridiculous. That's just terrible defense. People were saying that, the refs helped them out. That's absolutely terrible defense that should be excused and should be bailed out by the refs under no circumstances. That's not a basketball play. Well, you could call it a basketball play if you want to, but really the only thing good that's going to happen for your team by jumping into a player like that is hurt an opposing player, which we don't want to happen in the NBA. At any given point, we want players trying to hurt other players. Here, if you want to see physical defense, how you play physical defense, how you stay in front of someone, how you challenge the ball, watch Chris Paul here. Okay, this is how you get physical with someone. Mirror the ball. He can't make that easy pass. He ends up almost falling over in a split. Knocks Chris Paul clear back. I mean, that's what you got to do if you want to do something. And here we got LeBron again. We're going to get another travel move by LeBron, I'm pretty sure. He got this outside left foot. Oh, wait, no, that's not. We're going to get another switch on the Capella. Okay. Oh, okay. Here's a weak foul for LeBron, just to show that, Harden was out there getting weak fouls. Watch Capella here. I mean, Capella checks him a little bit, but there's tons of space right there. It looked like LeBron shoved him a little bit to get off of him. And they called that easy foul. I mean, if they called that a foul, I mean, anything that Harden does was a foul times 10. So, I mean, LeBron, if you want to look, LeBron was the one getting a special treatment in this game, not Harden. LeBron got special treatments for them ignoring his travels. He got easy fouls. I mean, if he wanted to get free throws, he could have got free throws. He was shooting like 50% from the line. He didn't want to go to the free throw line and get embarrassed, was probably the issue. He wasn't aggressive. He wasn't forcing towards the basket. He was shooting Curry threes. And at the beginning of the game when he was making them cool, but then when they stopped falling in the fourth quarter and his team was down and he needed to put his head down and get to the paint, it didn't happen. Here we got again. LeBron. I'm trying to see. No. I thought that might have been maybe a push-off, but it wasn't. Okay, here we go. Here's LeBron again. We talk about special treatment. Gordon gets the ball. Boom, it's on the floor. Beats him. LeBron. I mean, I don't know what the heck LeBron is doing right here. That's not, you can't play defense sideways with a dude going past you and just back into him with your hips and block. That's an obvious blocking call. Obvious blocking call. Like, it doesn't get any more obvious than that. Like, he wasn't even attempting to play any good defense. He wasn't down. He wasn't moving his feet. He just stops his feet, blocks him. I mean, kind of pushes into him. Gordon loses the ball, and then we'll see him push Gordon again to get the ball, push him completely off to get the ball. I mean, that could have been a blocking foul. That could have been a loose ball foul on James. Instead, it's points for the Lakers. So, I mean, there's stuff going on, but geez, a lot of it was happening for the Lakers too. Here we go, Harden again. I think he got the ball there. 1, 2. No, that's not a travel. Let me go back. I don't know. I have no clue what happened on this play. I had it in there for a reason, but I really don't know. Oh, okay, I see. I think it could have taken that. Could have, yeah, right there on Tucker. That's why I had it in there. Watch this on Tucker. You're gonna see he established right here. He doesn't have his feet. This is where he should have established the screen. You can see his foot's not planted right there, but he steps all the way over while Hart's trying to go around. That's a illegal screen right there. That's a moving screen, and you can see he still shuffles his feet and turns his hips out. And what that does is that gives tons of space, and Harden gets this huge run, and you will see it leaves Tucker wide open for a wide open shot. Yeah, that should have been called an illegal screen right there. But that's, again, those, and not the travels that LeBron was doing, but some of the ones Harden was doing, maybe a couple that LeBron had, but some of the ones that LeBron had was like textbooks, egregious travels that, even when they never call travels, they usually call those. But some of Harden's were kind of close. Those moving screens, that type of stuff is the stuff that they usually don't call but should, that helps certain teams. And here, again, I mean, on this, I don't know. I have no explanation for this. You're going to see Hart run out. And Gerald Green, I mean, they say pushed him. I mean, he put hands on him. I don't even know if he was trying to take a foul there, but they gave him a clear path when it didn't even look like he had that much contact at all. I mean, he reaches out and touches him. He gives him a little shove in the back. It doesn't really bother Hart too much. I think he heard the whistle, and then he really didn't even try to finish the shot very well. But yeah, I don't know about that one, but we'll just pretend that one was cool. Here we got LeBron again. Hesitates, goes in. I don't even think he travels here. Oh, this is when Tucker tries to go for the steal. There's a bounce. There he clutches the ball. That's 1, 2, 3. That was one of them close ones. These are one of the ones that, you know, what usually happens in these situations is you usually get a benefit of the doubt. So he dribbles the ball here. There he technically has the ball. It's clutched. So where he can't really put it down on the floor again. So that's really his beginning foot. That's his first step 1. Because he already has the ball clutched at this point with that back foot on the ground. 2, 3. But the bigger issue really in this situation was not that that one, but that Tucker really just kind of gets all ball here and it kind of strips it, and then the rest call foul. So LeBron technically got called for a shot there, but that's really never called. But Tucker does get called for a foul. But like LeBron can't hit free throws all. And then here, he misses the free throw. He punches the ball and basically almost hits the ref in the face. I mean, could that have been a technical? Probably. I mean, I assume even if a kid did that, like if he was at a kid's game and he punched the ball like that out of anger, frustration, missing free throws and tried to hit the ref, some refs calling a freaking technical in that. But, you know, it's LeBron James, so. Here we go again. With Kuzma trying to guard. I mean, this is not how you play defense. Like if I'm doing a video on how to play defense or trying to explain how to play defense, this is how you do not play defense. Right here, Kuzma. He's standing straight up. He's not in defensive position. He's falling back. Harden hits him with the cross. I mean, he has his foot forward right here, which I really don't know why. Like he's not trying to force him like towards the baseline at all, but he has this right foot up, and Harden takes advantage of that, as you know anybody would tell you to do. And instead of like opening up like you're supposed to and kind of turning and running with him, forcing him into the Chandler here, back towards the middle where all your help defenders are, Kuzma sticks his knee out. And I mean, regardless of whether or not you come into contact with somebody at this point, if you stick your knee and your hips out like that on defense, I mean, that's going to get called. That has to get called. I'm not going to say it's going to get called. It has to be called. If you're playing defense like that with your hips and trying to, you know, lunge into people and stick your knee out, I mean, that's how people get injured. I mean, that's how people hit their knees and get those knee bruises, get thigh bruises and stuff like that, catching a knee to the thigh, knee to knee. And if that's ever happened to you, you know how much that hurts. That could put you out, kind of like a little ankle sprain or something. You know, you'd be limping around for a second. Or, you know, if you let it get too stiff, hey, that could push you out. You might have to sit a couple games out. You know, you can see it close up here. Here's another one that probably could have been called a moving screen. Oh yeah, here's one for the Lakers that potentially was that should have been out in Houston. If you look at it right here, it looks like Stevenson tries to swipe for the ball, but House Jr. actually hits it out of bounds. But they actually called it out for called it Houston ball right there. Oh yeah. Okay, look at this one. Here you have one where they get him when this pick and roll nice, sets it up perfectly, and then all of a sudden they call a foul, and this would have put him up 38-46 at this point, which obviously a couple of points, you know, if we were calculating, would have been off the board there. But let's just say they would have been up by even more, and that should have been an and one probably. Instead, they waved the basket off. No clue what they called right there to wave the basket off. But anyway. Here we go again, LeBron. And PJ Tucker's in good defensive position here, but you're going to see what LeBron does right here. He obviously clutches the ball. This is both hands, so this is one of the ones I think that you have to call as a ref. He got the ball clutched in both hands, as you can see. His back foot just came off the ground at this point. So this is like a full step. 1, then he steps back over top of him. 2, and it comes back over again. 3. That covers so much ground. I guess PJ Tucker 0 chance right there. That's an obvious travel. It obviously gave the offensive player a huge advantage. It wasn't one of them ones like where he's running to the rim, there went no one there. Because there's some plays, obviously. I mean, do you want to call a fast break where a dude's got a wide open lane to the basket, where he crosses someone, has a wide open lane besides maybe the secondary defender and takes an extra step? I mean, maybe not all the time. But in this situation where PJ Tucker was in perfect position, but his position got lost because of a travel move. I mean, that's like the second, third, maybe even travel in LeBron at this point. And I mean, God. I mean, this is over and over again. Here you see LeBron. This is the one that I was trying to describe earlier, but this is the play that I was thinking of. He has this, he has his left foot here pivot, which is fine, but he pump fakes, and you're going to see him clearly travel here. Clearly, he picks up that pivot foot. He swings all the way through. It's off the ground there. He's already in complete, like, you know, shoulders lowered position to get off the ground. His pivot foot's off the ground. The ball's still in his hand. And then he finally dribbles. Then we're going to get probably another travel one. Like he gets fouled, or no, he just makes the shot. But the travel off the bounce travel, they call that all the time. It's called later in this game. Might have been called earlier, I don't know. But yeah, that's uncalled for. I mean, that's piling up on LeBron at this point. So, I mean, what the media didn't cover, what the media didn't say was all these travels on LeBron, but instead they talked about how Harden shot all these free throws when he should have gotten free throws. A lot of those were fouls. I mean, there's some times where he should have had turnovers, but a lot of those times was just legit. Okay. Here's one where PJ Tucker and Josh Hart just collide. I think Tucker was trying to go around him. I don't think he was trying to set a screen there. I think he was just trying to go around. But they kind of like hit faces. I really don't know what to say on this one. This was kind of unfortunate plays. They kind of had to call something. So they called it on Hart. You know, kind of ran right into him. And they explained it to him on the sideline, but I mean, I really don't. And that's just one of them ones where Hart probably should have just got out of his way and let him go through, and he was either going to set a moving screen or he's going to cut through the lane, but they ran into each other, and Hart got the foul. It's an unfortunate one, but there was contact. Refs had to call something, really. Oh. And here we got another one against the Lakers. I don't know. You could count at home. I'm not going to count all these to see, you know, tally up at the end of the game. Overall, this was a game where a lot of favoritism was towards LeBron James. Kuzma got away with a lot. And Kuzma, Hart, Lonzo Ball, and LeBron James played absolutely terrible. Textbook terrible defense. Like if he was going to make a how not to play defense compilation, it would be this game. Watching him trying to guard James Harden, Chris Paul, or whoever else. But you're going to see Kuzma come and just truck. And he does this, I don't want to say all the time. Like it's like 5 or 6 times a game. No. He does this enough. If you watch Lakers games, Kuzma's known for just trucking people. I don't know if it's out of frustration or he just thinks he's going to play physical. That's how you play physical. I don't know. But here you're going to see, bam, runs him over and gets the dunk. Obviously, that should be points off the board, but it's whatever. I'm just trying to show, you know, the facts, what actually happened in the game. But bam, shoulders into him. I guess if you want to call that physical basketball, I guess you can call it physical basketball, but that could have very easily been called a foul. I don't know. Here we go again. Here's another one of the ones that apparently Harden shouldn't have got, but As you can see, Harden got a straight line to the basket here. There's no way. Lonzo Ball has zero chance of getting in front. Harden already has the advantage. Ball would probably have to try to get an angle to cut him off, like somewhere near the basket, basically just to get a contest, not even to really get any type of contact on him. But instead, you're going to see Lonzo Ball lean in on James Harden and shoulder him. And Harden's already trying to, create contact and get to the free throw line, and you're going to lean in and basically hit him with your shoulder turned, not even trying to get like around a square and any type of legitimate defensive position, but you're just going to bump into him. And then they're frustrated and saying, "Oh, what? Oh my, I don't." And people at home are saying, "Oh, Harden's getting all these." No, that's a foul. A hack is a foul. Like what they asked at different Charles Barkley in that interview, what's the difference between playing physical and hacking? And a hack is a foul. This is a foul. It's a hack by Ball. Runs that shoulder straight into him. I mean, you could not call it. You could call it incidental contact if you want, as a ref, but I mean, that's a good call in my book. Well, next play, we got James on Paul. We know Paul's strong. Paul flops. Yes, he does. He flops. We know this. Harden flops. A lot of people in the NBA flop, but this wasn't a flop. He tries to play physical with them, not give him any ground. LeBron's not having it. It's his friend. He gives him the friendly bump. That we're friends, but that's not a flop. He didn't fall down. He didn't try to fall down. He didn't try to sell it. He didn't, give the charge call the other way on the ground. He didn't get upset. He got freaking thrown out of the way by one of his best friends, and yeah, should have been an offensive foul on LeBron. Here we have Kuzma. I'm not necessarily sure what happens this play. Let me watch it. Oh yeah, that probably should have been a foul on Harden there. Just so I'm not being biased, let me add some in for Houston. I can see why they didn't call the foul, but yeah, that most definitely could have been a foul on Harden right there. I mean, if they was calling it tight, that would have been a foul. 100%. If they was calling it tight. If they was calling it body contacts like that would have been 100% foul. Oh my God. Before this play, I was going to say, man, I hope this is another travel by LeBron. But I promise this isn't a LeBron travel compilation. This is just clips that I cut from the game. But you're going to see here, LeBron takes like 5 steps, shuffles his feet like 3 or 4 times, pivots. That's just uncalled for. That wasn't called a travel. I don't know who you ask as to why that wasn't called. But then Capella makes up for it by traveling himself. And that should have been, I think that was a foul in that play. He might have been shooting. So that should have been called a foul. I mean, that should have been called a travel there. So if they got points there, that should have probably been taken off too. But I mean, LeBron did it like 100 times. But apparently, I don't know if that's a makeup or what. But let's see what we got here. Oh, moving screen. Chandler. Pretty bad one. Don't know why I still got this run. There must be something else in this play. Oh. That was just a soft switch. That wasn't a moving screen. But they get points on this. That's why I kept running it. Yeah, if they would have called that moving screen, obviously he wouldn't hit that 3. So if you're counting at home. Yeah, here's another one. I mean, this is how you don't play defense. Look at Lonzo Ball. I mean, understand... You want to, I mean, oh man, I don't understand. I don't understand at any point why you put your hands behind your back. I mean, if they're going to call hand check fouls, when you let them call hand check fouls, if they're going to let them reach through and stuff like that, just play good defense. Let what happens. If you have to try to keep your hands out of the cookie jar, do that, but don't do that at the expense of playing good defense. You obviously can't move your body. You can't move mechanically properly with your arms just draped down at your side. No one would run a 40-meter dash like that. No one would, test their vertical by not swinging their arms. Swinging their arms gives your body momentum, keeps your balance. I mean, everything. And you can see right here, his hands are at his side. That does nothing good for you. They're not up, not trying to contest a shot. not trying to get around the screen, nothing. He gets crossed, and he sticks his hips out. That's how you do not play defense. That's how you do not get low. That's how you don't move your feet. That's how you don't have active hands. That's how you don't slide or try to get in front. That's a textbook blocking foul. I mean, and then they get free throws at the end of the quarter and they're upset. You'd have nothing to be upset about besides the fact that you can't play defense. Oh yeah, here we go. There's going to be a foul on Capella. It's a tough one. Hart has a wide open lane to the basket, but for some miraculous reason, instead of going straight to the basket, trying to dunk it, trying to lay it in on the left-hand side here, he leans all the way in across Capella's body, initiates the contact, and the refs give him a cheap foul. I don't know what they're expecting Capella to do to kind of move completely out of the way. To me, in this situation, Capella is in a legal position on the floor, and Hart leans in and initiates the contact. As you can see right there, the contact isn't with that foot. If he would have tripped over Capella's foot right there 100%, you could have called it on that. But Capella's actually even trying to move slightly back, or maybe to the side or something like that. I don't know. Those are the type of calls that people would get mad that James Harden gets, which he does at some points in time. Yes, he gets those type of fouls where he initiates the contact. Hart got the call for that this game. That wasn't the type of contact that James Harden was getting. James Harden was getting none of his classic grab people arms and shoot a three. He was getting none of his classic run into people and throw your arms up in the air. He was getting none of the classic grab their off arm on the way to the basket. He was getting none of that stuff this game. He was getting legitimate foul calls, and they used the narrative of Harden getting help to cover up for the fact that the Lakers were the ones probably getting most of the help. The LeBron James team got absolutely destroyed by not being able to play defense, by LeBron not being able to play defense, by LeBron not being able to close. And, I mean, pretty much across the board, a bad game with the officials kind of helping you out. Another travel by Capella, obvious travel, and doesn't need an explanation. Again, we got Harden. Okay. As you can see, actually legit, he bounces the ball right there. 1, 2. As you can see, LeBron James is in the restricted area. At this point, he's clear on the other side of the basket where he gets head and shoulders past him. He never establishes his feet. He never gets his feet set as a secondary defender. You have to get yourself established, obviously outside of the restricted area. LeBron James never does that. Even at this point, Harden's already on his way up. He's already in his gather at that point. That's one. By the time he hits the second foot, LeBron James does get up, but he's not past the restricted area. As you can see, his heel is on that line. You can't have your feels to hover in the line. You have to be completely outside that line. LeBron's not. Actually, he's not even hovering. I don't think at this point he has his foot completely in there, and he might trying to get on his toes, but he's completely in there. That's an obvious block. Instead, they called it a charge. Ridiculous call. Obvious favoritism towards LeBron. Not a call for Harden. If we're setting a theme up here, not a call for Harden. The exact opposite, a call against Harden for something that should have been called the right way, and it wasn't. Here again, got a dude ends up fouling him. This is how you do not play defense, but actually what I wanted to point out on this play is this is a travel. This is a patent Harden step back travel. As you're going to see, he dribbles right there. Let me go back to the inch. Right there. As you can see, he's stopping his dribble. And he has the outside foot planted. Then he jumps up forward with the other foot. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a travel. You can't do that. He has his hand completely under the ball. That's basically the same as taking 3 steps to the basket, what he did. 3 or 4 steps even. But Hart, I guess to explain the opposite, they don't call this type of stuff step back travel. They've been letting people do this for a minute. It's a travel, but what they haven't been letting people do rightfully is jump into people's airspace on the shots. And as you can see, Harden just basically plays terrible defense. He doesn't get a proper contest on the shot. I mean, you can see he's contesting high like he's about to get a block. You're not going to block the shot. He's nowhere near where he needs to be defensively. And then he leans all the way into him, turns around, turns his body, and is still kind of backing into him. That's textbook how you don't play defense. You cannot play defense that way. And they rightfully called the foul, even though it should have been a travel. They called it a foul rightfully. As you can see from this angle. I mean, right there, Hart's already done. At this point, Harden cannot dribble. At that point where Harden cannot dribble, he'd be closing on that basketball. With his left hand right there, he should probably be able to get a steal if he's quick. Instead, he goes up with that right hand, which is fine because Harden's left-handed if you want to contest with your right hand. But he should be swiping down at the ball and then going up, trying to block his vision instead. I mean, he's nowhere near a block shot. He's nowhere near a contest. I mean, it doesn't really bother Harden's shot. Harden just missed it. I mean, he probably would have missed it if Harden didn't do anything. But instead, he jumps right into his space and gets the foul. LeBron here again. I hope this is another travel. I hope it's something else. Let me see. He clutches the ball. 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's another travel. They don't get points off of it that time. They get a foul on Chris for barely touching JaVale in the back. Okay. I mean, I guess you want to call that a foul. Chris Webber was talking about how that's definitely a foul. I don't know why. Chris Webber was saying a whole bunch of the ridiculous stuff during the broadcast, which I think influenced people's view of the game. You could be objective during a broadcast, but he wasn't. He wasn't. I don't know why. I mean, you have to ask him. Someone had to ask him in an interview or something why he seemed to be kind of against the Lakers a little bit. I mean, not against the Lakers, but against Houston for the Lakers a little bit in terms of calls. But yeah, I mean, it's fine that they called it a foul, but I don't think it was. This one, he actually did get right. It looked like JaVale McGee just kind of got blocked by the rim there, trying to do a reverse. He might have lost the ball on the way up, trying to palm it. But instead, they called a foul on somebody, I guess. Again, this is kind of embarrassing at this point for these guys, but Lonzo Ball standing straight up on his heels. He's in a position where he basically has zero chance. I don't know what the technique or defensive is here, who he's trying to force the ball to, but he lets him get all the way to the rim, and Harden basically, I don't think he gets a foul call on this one. He probably could have, or maybe he does. I want to see real quick. Okay, no. So let me go back. He doesn't get a foul call here. I think Harden traveled. Again, it was close. Dribble. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, those are the ones he never called. Technically, you can give the benefit of doubt. A lot of times what they try to say, people have this like weird conception. There's this thing called a gather step. There's not. The whole thing's a gather. The count starts when you gain possession of the ball. They recently added in and call it 2 steps. They used to call it before that like a 2 count rhythm, or a 2 bounce rhythm, like a 1-2. Before that, the basic rule is basically if you pick up your pivot foot, you have to shoot or pass the ball. If you still have your dribble, you have to dribble the ball or release the ball before you pick up your pivot foot, or you traveled, and that's a travel rule. And as you can see here, he bounces it there. It just depends on when you want to say he gains possession of the ball. Does he gain possession right there with that hand, palming it, or kind of clutching it, carrying it, whatever you want to say? And that's 1 step right there. Or does he gain possession right there? And that's 1, 2. It just depends on where you want to say he gained possession. A lot of times they're going to give the benefit of the doubt and allow people to get that extra step, which is the ones LeBron James was doing was kind of egregious. This one's close. I mean, that could have been, somebody contacting McGee, but he kind of went straight up. So that's pretty good. Okay. They called a offensive foul when it's give and go. like Kuz owning tight right there, and Harden gives him a little swim, which I think should be fine. I mean, I don't know if it's against the rules or not, really. I don't know if it says you can't swim move people if the contact's not very egregious, because I mean, he doesn't push him out of the way. It's nowhere near what Kuzma did to James the 2 times. Kuzma's out of position. James's hand contact doesn't create any doesn't dislodge, which is like the technical term that you'll see, dislodge the person's position that he has, which is crappy position, terrible position. James Harden basically just swim moves him, takes advantage of it, cuts back door, would have had a layup basically, but instead we got an offensive foul. And as you can see, the Lakers are down at this point. So if you want evidence that the refs were trying to get the Lakers back in it, I mean, that's it. I'm not sure what happens this play. Let me watch it for a little bit. Oh, I don't know why I put this one in here. I'm not necessarily sure. Okay, yeah. Harden traveled again. Bang. You can see he definitely clutches the ball here. He basically takes like a jump move, and he takes that old, what they call it, like a European quick 2-step, like Tony Parker. I think Tony Parker was one of the first people I saw do this, where I was like, man, that's a travel. And refs, I mean, not the refs, but the announcers always used to say they're letting them get the European travel 2-step in back in the day when we used to watch like games like in the playoffs. But you see, obviously has a basketball clutch right there, one. But then he jumps up in the air and takes a quick I call it like the European 2-step basically. That was before a lot of people started Euro stepping. I think maybe around the same time, probably around the same time. But yeah, that's definitely. But Chandler definitely fouled him too. I don't know why he wasn't straight up. His hands were draped over, as you can see right there. In my view, I don't know. The ref had a better view of it, but he said, "Where's the foul?" But it looked like obvious, like he was draped over him. Again, Kuzma can't stay in front of anybody. If he's supposed to be forcing him towards the sideline, towards his help over there, Chandler's supposed to be helping. This is not how you do it. He basically looks like to me gets beat on the dribble again. He's sticking his hips into him. I mean, you're not in a good position at that point, unless you want to maybe you want someone to do one of them snapback pullbacks when you fall on your butt and get embarrassed, when best crossover moves of the year. But he's rides him. I mean, they should have called a foul on the perimeter really when he first bumped him, but instead they called it right there, body contact. Obviously, I mean, it wasn't no Harden tricks, no trickery. He didn't grab him. He didn't hold on to him. He didn't force him to play bad defense. I don't even know what to say at this point. This game's kind of bad. I mean, like I said, I didn't want to look at this one, but I mean, I guess that's kind of a moving screen right there. I'm not going to say kind of, that's a moving screen. But bang, that's the big play. If you look up charge in the dictionary, this is what you're going to get. This is how you charge somebody. Nene's in good defensive position right here. He's set. Kuzma has zero room to make this move. He tries to squeeze his way through there and trucks him. That's an obvious charge. I don't know on what basis the refs were calling a block. Are they saying maybe Nene slid? Maybe they thought he had a room to make it through there. I don't know. Usually, if you hit a guy in the chest, a primary defender. I mean, if Nene was a secondary defender, 100% understand. But the point, but at this point right here, Nene's established himself as in defensive position. Kuzma can see him. They switched the screen. Nene's now the primary defender. Nene's not under the basket. He's not coming from like a weak side help position. He's helping. He's switching directly off of the screener. He's in defensive position. He has his feet set, and Kuzma does not try to avoid him. Again, if Kuzma would have tried to avoid him a little bit, maybe even, and kind of go the opposite direction, but instead he runs into him full force and trucks him. That's a charge. Looked like a different guy might have had a different call, because it looks like seen him pointing over towards the other way. But Nene ended up getting a technical for this one, which I mean, I mean, yeah, you probably get a technical. I mean, he trucked. When you get trucked like that, you're gonna be pretty upset. And again, if you watch other Lakers games, Kuzma has gotten called for charging multiple times. This isn't the first time he got called for charge, or would have gotten called for a charge. This isn't the first time even that he should have gotten called for a charge, and the other player got trucked and complained to the ref, because it happened to Taj Gibson when they played Minnesota, and that was pretty hilarious because Taj Gibson got up and say, I think he cussed, but he had a choice words and say, you know what, ran me over, I think, but but yeah, he did run him over, and I think Taj got called for the block. That could technically probably be a moving screen right there, but Nene's called for the foul. This is where he gets kicked out of the game. As you can see, he puts the hand out a little bit, but Kuzma grabs his arm and throws it back. I don't think that the hand contact by Nene was egregious enough. I mean, maybe it could have been. Maybe you could have called a foul right there on Nene, on the floor. Nene probably would have been like, cool, yeah, that's a hand check. Well, not a hand check. It's not on the perimeter. This is on a drive. So he's basically arm barring him and holding him. But Kuzma kind of swipes it away right there. But that's not where they called a foul. They call it when this little, I guess it's a shove. I mean, I don't know if that really affects the shot, but that was kind of weak, and he ends up getting technical, getting thrown out. This, I don't know if this was discussed, like maybe a show or something. I think I might have seen someone try to mention this play online somewhere, where maybe they're mad that Harden was getting these type of calls when 3-point shots, but Kuzma didn't get this one. But if you look at this, this is last couple of seconds of the shot clock, 3.1 at this point, where Harden right here, before Kuzma even is on a shot, he already closed that airspace. I mean, Kuzma's on his way up right now. Harden closed that airspace. You're going to see Kuzma trying to drift into him. Kind of goes up without any space and kind of falls sideways. Harden does not. You can see Harden's body is vertical versus the other ones that I showed you earlier with the Lakers players. They were completely, not completely horizontal, but leaning forward towards the offensive player. But Harden closes this airspace right there, closes it. He's actually leaning back at this point. He goes up. He moves forward a little bit, like slightly. But he kind of tries to avoid the contact. I mean, that would have be a good no call if the Lakers did that and got called for fouls, and then Harden did that. But what they did was completely different. Completely different. You can see it from this angle. That's not it. But this angle right here. I mean, you could see Kuzma goes up. Harden comes forward a little bit, but kind of drifts to the side. Kuzma kind of like lays his legs like straight into the, kind of like Reggie Miller's him a little bit. But yeah, that's completely different than what Hart and or it could have just been Hart and Kuzma. Kuzma got called for a foul in the 3 too. Here's another one. Another one for how you do not play defense. He got beat. Tries to climb over the top from the side. Technically, you could say that Chris Paul kind of initiated contact a little bit right there, leans into him. But I mean, he had every right to go for that space because he was head and shoulders past him. And Kuzma should have probably tried to avoid contact. Instead, he doesn't and gets called for the foul. He should be more frustrated again that he's picking up fouls. And has to go to the bench probably at this point. I mean, early in the 4th, I think he went to the bench. At this point, we're late in the 4th again. This is the one that a lot of people say this was the game. The game was decided here. As you could see, there was so much more calls in the game than that. But Hart's playing defense, and this is a foul. For all the people who say, oh, this decided the game, this wasn't a foul. Maybe this is a moving screen on Capella there. He doesn't really move very far. He doesn't stretch out his hips a lot. But as you can see, I don't know what their defensive technique is here, what they're trying to do. But Hart is into his body right there already. Harden feels that, so he starts to go up for the shot. Hart continues into his body. That's body contact. That's body contact on the shot. Could have been called probably maybe on the floor, maybe even, but they called it on the shot. I mean, that's contact. That's a foul. Right here, you can see Capella did move a little bit. Yeah, this is one of the ones that back in the day was a lot more egregious things happened where Harden got calls than this. A lot of the games I'd watch, Capella would literally, or somebody from them would just kind of like bump him completely, moving screen, like throw his, but as you can see right there, Hart is already initiating some contact right there. Before Capella even makes contact with him, he's already into him. So Capella kind of hits him a little bit, but he's already into body contact. That's the obvious foul. I mean, I don't really know what else to say. You can't hit people with your body if you don't have position at any point. Well, even if you have position, you can't like just keep bodying them. They have to come into you. I mean, nothing really to say. This definitely was probably a moving screen on Capella. A lot more egregious than the last one. What you're going to see here is Lance play a lot better defense than what everybody else was playing all game. There was some possessions where he played pretty nice defense. I think one where he deflected it out. But I think without him, he deflected Harden. But as you can see, Capella's left foot here is where he's setting the screen because Lance is going to get right into him and try to take away that screen quick. Because obviously, once you're in contact with the player from a screen, you can't move. That's one of the definitions of the moving screen. And then obviously, you have to give the person enough room to go around it. Once you're set, and then you have to give being set in a position where they have enough room. So if he wants to reset, he kind of got to get away from his body here, but he doesn't. He moves out a little bit more to right there, and you can see his right leg. His left leg is already farther to the, I guess, towards the half court than what it was. But then he shuffles it out even farther. His leg's completely wide in an unnatural position, basically to a point where Stevenson would trip if he tried to go around the screen. And then again, he's going to move into him here again, right there. Again, and then he's going to keep moving. And then Stevenson actually does get a pretty decent contest. And as you're going to see, he remains vertical. He doesn't jump into his body. I mean, like when you have a dude on your own team who plays defense properly, against a lot more egregious moving screen than what you had to deal with. Sometimes it was just you one-on-one. And it's basically him 2-on-1. And you can see right there, he's already contesting the shot. He could have probably got his hand a little bit out there a little bit farther and got that swipe on the ball, but he's a second late. But he gets a pretty decent contest. And what you're going to see right there, he's not leaning like far into his body. And then right there, you can see he stays right there. He's straight up right there. If Harden jumps forward, you really can't say much about him having space to land if he jumps completely forward when the guy is standing basically still at the time when he starts jumping, which would have been right there. He comes forward a little bit, but at that point, when he's off the ground, he doesn't move forward anymore. Actually, he moves back a little bit, and it keeps his hands straight up, and Harden lands properly, and he makes it. Tough shot. But it was good defense. And I mean, that's an example if you want to know how to play that. Here's an example if you want to know how not to play it. One-on-one with LeBron James, also known as the greatest player in the world, according to some people, the best player in the NBA, according to others. A guy who apparently doesn't know how to play defense. And a guy who commits a foul that's not called. But the shot still goes in. But you can see LeBron on this one. I mean, versus like Stevenson, like I said, Harden goes into his like little dance on him. He probably already knows he's about to shoot. Right there. I mean, right there is where you're done. You can see James's weight is kind of planted back to try to come forward again. Harden's all the way up into his shot at that point. Harden already has the ball up near his eyebrow, and James is nowhere near him. But then James is going to continue, and you can see if you're looking at it right here, where he initiates the jump, he's already leaning forward. He's like down. If you want to look at from where it says Toyota Center, he's like maybe by the T, where Harden's clear back by the O. And you want to see LeBron James drift forward all the way to basically where the Y is and not give him room to land. Basically, Harden has to split. Well, James splits his feet and Harden lands like almost right in between his legs. That should have been called a foul for not giving him space. Instead, since it's LeBron James, it wasn't a foul. And Harden still made it. This is one where it could have been called an offensive foul on James. Capella is just like hedging on the screen. And LeBron has zero room to get through here. Instead, he tries to force his way through and basically runs the Capella over. And for some odd reason, they call it block. Well, not odd reason. A LeBron reason. LeBron was the reason. But here we go again. The game's pretty much over at this point. This might be the last one. But again, you're back on your heels. You're falling backwards. You basically almost fall down, and you're leaning all the way forward, and you keep coming forward, all the way into him. I mean, if you're going to be upset with that, like I said, you got to be upset for the fact that you can't play defense. You can't get upset at James Harden. You can't get upset at the officials. And that's pretty much the summary of the game. The summary of the game, if you ask me, was Lonzo Ball, LeBron James, Josh Hart, Kyle Kuzma are bad defenders, bad one-on-one defenders. And they get bailed out in certain situations where there's not good one-on-one offensive players on the other team. But every time that there is, they get exposed. And they're basically showing at this point why they need Brandon Ingram. Lance Stevenson, obviously. He played good defense. Lance Stevenson did do it in our game. Lance Stevenson played good offense as well. Having 17 points and I think, 23 maybe minutes. That's pretty decent. He hit 2 clutch threes, one I think to tie it up in the fourth, and another one to kind of bring him within 3 when he was down 6. So he balled out. But the rest of the guys, I'm not going to say the rest of the guys on the team. Other players played okay. But the main guys in the starting lineup, maybe besides JaVale. JaVale got dunked on, yes he did. But he also hit some pretty decent hook shots. He hit some pretty decent shots down in the post at the end. So he didn't play terribly. Could have played better probably, but definitely Kuzma, Hart, LeBron, and Ball played absolutely terrible. Fundamental. I mean, every aspect. They didn't play like, they didn't look like natural defenders. Like some people, you never teach them how to play defense. They just got that mentality where they're kind of like natural athletes. Like natural athletes, they move their feet right, they contest right because they're just natural athletes. You tell them to stay in front of somebody, and they kind of already know what kind to do without even having to be taught. But they don't got good fundamentals, good footwork, good hand movement. They don't got really anything going for them. And on top of that, they're not like, it's not like they're like extremely athletic to make up for it. LeBron is, but apparently he, in this game or whenever, other times just doesn't want to use it. But Brandon Ingram, Rondo, they're kind of missing those guys really. Ever since the Spurs game, they've been missing those guys. But that's pretty much it for this. I don't know really what to say. This really isn't one about a game that I feel that was rigged. I don't feel it was. I mean, if anything, it was to help the Lakers stay in the game at certain points. Because at any point in any game, when one team cannot guard one or more players on the other team, the game's pretty much over. And as you can see, they did a decent enough job against LeBron. LeBron got bailed out by a lot of travels that should have been called that weren't. But he didn't. I mean, heck, if they would have called those, his numbers would actually look pretty bad throughout the game. But in the fourth quarter, you could see that LeBron, I mean, I don't even need to discuss this. I mean, other people already discussed it on other shows. He wasn't aggressive enough. Like they could try to compare him to Kobe and Jordan, didn't have that killer instinct or whatever you want to say. And it doesn't have anything to do with you got to try to play better defense. You got to try to get to the basket. You got to try to get fouls regardless of whether or not you're making them or not. He didn't do any of that in the fourth. I think he shot the ball twice. That's pretty much what you don't do for a lot of the game, for a lot of players.